For starters, obviously, we're excited about playing, and we've had, the weather obviously starting on Friday started to cooperate with us, so we were able to get a good weekend in this past weekend, and our pitchers got their innings and got some good work over the last 3 days. So, I think as much as anything, it's just a fun time. Opening day and looks like the weather's going to be great for the weekend, but opening day is always got a lot of energy about it, and for the whole weekend, and obviously with a newer type team and a lot of new players, in our group, there's just excitement that's even added to that, and I think from a coaching staff too. We're a little curious with some guys to see how they're going to play when the lights cut on, and because really we've been very pleased the last 3 weeks with our development, and the guys have really improved, week by week, and so it's going to be fun to see how they get out and get started. And I think the one thing you'll see this weekend, and particularly in probably the first 10 or 12 games, is you'll see a lot of different lineups. You'll see a lot of different pitchers run out, and my philosophy as a head coach has always been try to play a lot of guys early, and we're really trying to find out, which guys can we add to the bottom of that 25-man roster that are going to be productive. And I think we still have a lot of competition in some spots, which, that's made practice alone, very competitive. And so as a whole, we feel pretty good where we're at starting. We've got, I think, for the first 4 games, and, we'll go Morgan on Friday, Kilcrease on Saturday. Hawley and Wolf right now are about dead even, but probably Hawley on Sunday and Wolf would start the Tuesday game. And obviously we want to see a lot of guys out of the bullpen, and we want to see a lot of those young position players get out there and start getting some at bats and see how they respond. So just know a little bit about Alcorn. That I know they returned a couple of their top hitters, and they returned a couple of their weekend starters. They were right at 500 last year, and but more so than anything right now, for these first couple weeks, it's more about us and just our team getting in a rhythm, playing together, and with a lot of new players getting used to playing at Alabama, and it's a totally different atmosphere from what a lot of these kids are used to. Not 1 through 9. I mean, I feel like got a pretty good idea. I mean, obviously, Dugas and Kelton, I think, will hit up top, and shortstop Jared Reeves is a really good offensive player. He'll be in the 3-hole, and he's not necessarily your traditional 3-hole hitter that's going to hit 18, 20 home runs, but he's a guy that's going to go gap to gap, and he was a kid that actually over a 2-year stretch at Southern Union, he led the state both years in hitting, and had 6 strikeouts with close to 200 at-bats as a freshman, then only 9 last year, again with close to 200 at-bats. So we really like his potential offensively, and junior college player Josh Rosecrans has a lot of power in the middle of the lineup, and from there, Booth and Bennett and some of those guys will filter in there. We'll see just how we're going to stack it, on Friday. But David Kendrick, that's one thing. I know they're going to do a little presentation Friday for him. Governor Bentley's throwing out the first pitch Friday, so there's a little bit of action going down at the field prior to the game, but yeah, I think that the batting order, those things will kind of. We'll find what ways we want to go with those, but right now I think we can run out 9 good offensive players, and I think there's going to be a handful of young guys on that bench that, as I said last week, I think they're going to be challenging to play here pretty quick.
Who are some of those the positions you talk about the competition, but who are some of the better competition?
First base, we've got 2. Young players there in Austin Smith and Patrick McGavin. The good thing there is one's right-handed, one's left-handed, so obviously that, sets up a platoon type situation. Josh Rosecrans is another player who we've been catching a lot, but he was a junior college catcher, first baseman. He can go over there as well, and his batch really heated up here the last 3 weeks, and he was a JUCO All-American. He's got experience, is the one thing he has over those other kids a little bit right now, and I think right field is a spot right now that still there's some competition out there with Miller, Hendricks. We've got young Jeremiah Tullidge has looked good in the outfield, and certainly looking to get him some at bats. And I think you can look at the everyday starters last year. I mean, the majority of those guys have pretty well ingrained their spots back, but at the same time, we've had some steady improvement from some players that I think are going to push to play, and that's why it's important, and it's certainly in the early part that we certainly get a lot of looks out of those guys.
Picks finished 5th in the West. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I think that's when you look at on paper what we lost. I don't think that's unexpected. To be picked 5th. You lost the whole infield and the middle of the year lineup and a number 1 type starter with Nelson, and you're bringing in some unproven guys, but it's what a great opportunity for us. I think that that's the one thing that I'm really excited about with this team is there's a lot of energy in that group, and that energy is really created because there's so much competition and has been from the fall. But this is certainly a team, for those that have seen us practice in inter-squad. I mean, the improvement has been daily with this group, and the rankings, it's like anything, that preseason stuff means nothing. Yeah, I mean, new bats. I mean, the one thing is everybody's swinging the same bat now. So, I mean, there's no advantage or disadvantage either way. I mean, the one thing that's a fact is the power numbers are going to be, I think, could be cut in half. And it's going to be true baseball where you're going to have to pitch, you're going to have to defend, you're going to have to execute offensively. I think, we just got the finished version of the new bat, and it does have a little more pop in it than the bat we were swinging in the fall. We hit 3 balls out of the park on Friday. We hit a couple on Saturday, and I think we hit 1 on Sunday. So we are starting to see the ball leave the yard a little bit more than we did in the fall. So, for us, I don't think that takes away from a whole lot of what we want to do. I mean, we've got a couple guys in the middle lineup that can hit some home runs, but the majority of the offense that we want to run and that the way it's going to be set up is for guys to get on base, manufacture runs, create your offense with bunts and hit and runs, and be very active on the bases, and really try to have high walk count and a low strikeout total, and that's going to be part of the challenge with young players. I think as they get going and get antsy, I mean, that's where, just really driving home what a quality at bat is, each day that we go out. And that's one thing I think Andy, Phillips has done a great job with our hitters, since coming on board. And, as good of a job as Dax did in that area, it's always good to have another voice coming in right in behind, and sometimes you're saying the same thing but with a little different terminology, and so the timing was really good, and we've certainly seen an impact in the last 3 weeks of our scrimmages.
How many innings do you think we'll see starters go?
I think it'll be very similar to last year. We actually just finished up last weekend. Our starters were on a 60-pitch count. So this weekend, I think 70, 75 would be the top end of where we would go with those guys. So, I guess if it all mapped out the way we would like it, you would like to get 6 innings out of our starters, probably one reliever for 2, and then we've got a couple guys we want to look at the back end of the games. They would probably throw the 9th regardless of the situation. So the way it would play out is, if everything kind of mapped out the way we would like it, probably 3 guys per game is what you would see on the mound. And we may even mix in a couple situational type guys to come in and try to get a lefty or 2 out. And but really going to look for opportunities to use a lot of players, both on the mound and certainly in as position players as well.